Hello and welcome to the Purity Pulse podcast, your go-to podcast for the natural health industry and everything Purity Life. I'm Erin Macklin.
And I'm Julie Drapeau.
And today we're going to go through our regular check-ins. We're going to have a great interview with Phil Bean. We'll do, as usual, our new to Purity Life and close out there. How's it going? What's your week been looking like?
I'm very excited because I'm preparing a managers meeting. So all basically my teams and a couple of others, we're heading to Montreal.
Yes.
We always like to do sort of a strategic meeting every quarter where we can exchange some good ideas, what's our focus coming in the next month. And I've added a little surprise. We're going to talk about the imposter syndrome with a specialist in the area. And in the previous episode, we talked a lot about the imposter syndrome and how when you get to a certain level of success, that you start putting back because you start
questioning yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You feel like you're not at the level that you should be.
Yes.
And so we want to arm people with the tools to make sure that they can, grow and develop. So that's my week, organizing everything, and I'm ultra excited to do that with all of you. So that'll be exciting.
I'm very excited about that too. I get to join along with that. So I'm looking forward to that imposter syndrome stuff. Yeah.
What about you though?
Well, it's starting to cool down. We're getting into late November. This is usually the time of year where I start thinking, we're into the end of November. This is the point where I thought, because in my family we celebrate Christmas.
Yes.
Where I thought I'd get a real jump on things and have everything ready, and then realized, no, that's not the case. So I'm already kind of starting to think through Christmas and all of the kind of preparations and shopping and whatnot. So yeah, I didn't do it as early as I always wanted to. However, still have a whole month to figure that out.
It's funny and I hear you work in retail as well. That always been one of my favorite time of the year. And I know I'm going to annoy a lot of people what I'm going to say, but the Christmas and holiday music couldn't start early enough.
That's funny because I'm the same way. And I know it drives people crazy, but yeah, I'm all for it. Those radio stations that start playing it immediately after Remembrance Day, I'm in.
Oh yeah, I'm in.
I'm almost embarrassed to say it because I know most people are very aggravated by that, but I'm in. I like it.
So for the audience, please make note that Erin and I have something in common.
Yes.
So if you're around us,
not like it.
And if you're around us in the car, in our office, it's going to play some Christmas carols.
Oh man, our teams are going to be so annoyed with us.
Well, I'm thinking now for the managers meeting, I know what type of music we're going to put.
We can just blare it every time we get in the car or the bus. We can just have it like blaring.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm in. Today is a very special episode because we're interviewing our Purity Life owns Phil Bean, and he is our Director of Continuous Improvement. A mouthful, such a fantastic position.
And a fantastic person, I think we both. He's just so lovely.
You will... you might want to work with Phil, but we're keeping him for us.
No, nobody else can have him.
He's fantastic. So we're looking forward to share that with all of you. So hi, Phil. We're very excited to have you with us today. And just to start us off, so what's your current position at Purity Life?
First of all, thank you for having me. Very excited to be here. So my position, I am the Director of Continuous Improvement at Purity Life, and I've been in that role for about a year now, but have been with Purity for about 5. So it's very exciting. Kind of a newly introduced role within Purity as well, which is very exciting and encouraging for where we're headed.
I think it's encouraging for the whole Purity Life team to have somebody in a role of continuous improvement because we're really always looking for that. So to have somebody take that on, I think has been great for everybody.
And I think that the word sort of explain what it is, but just give us a little bit more detail on what it is actually. What's your task? What are you looking for?
What does that mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Continuous improvement.
Fair question. My wife actually says, so your job just means you're never done? kind of how
I
she
like that.
describes
That's
it,
daunting.
Yes.
which is true.
Yes.
But no, so if I kind of like touch a little bit on my background, that might help a little bit as well. I've got a lot of background in sort of project management, and that can do anything from systems and processes to people. And so I've got some formal education there, but lots of experience through distribution. Actually, interestingly enough, I worked in kitchens for quite a while. I've
Oh,
got
yeah?
a culinary background, which might not sound transferable, but if you think about the sort of tasks involved in a kitchen of getting product
restaurant
to the
kitchens
point-
is what
yes,
you're-
yeah. Yes.
You know, how do you get food from its source onto a consumer's plate? There's a project there,
Right.
Yes.
so that's a bit of my background, and kind of how that plays into where I am now is looking at everything we do every day, all the processes, steps involved in our decision making and our daily routines.
Yeah.
How can we take what we do today and evolve it to be better for tomorrow?
Right.
Yeah.
And that can be small little things. It can be massive undertakings.
Yeah.
So in continuous improvement, that's really what Purity is looking at right now, is how do we take who we are, leverage all of the wonderful people and resources that we have, and make ourselves even better and stronger.
And I think the key word on continuous, because when a company is doing well, most people will just sit back and relax. Everything is going well. But I think, brought you in that position as turn on some light on, yes, we're doing well, but how can we do better?
Yes.
And with the past years, if you will look at, COVID and all the constraint in very different areas, it has changed from, the warehouse to even into our customer care and our sales team, how we do a certain function. So we're definitely grateful to have you there to ask the question, because I think in that position, you need to be very good on connecting with people.
Which we know that Phil does very well.
Exactly, and not making them feel threatened, because, if I
Yes.
come to you, Erin, and I say, you're doing a great job, but
Yeah.
I can see improvement. So how did you do that? Like, to approach people and that were very, confident, everything is going well, we're succeeding, to,
It is definitely one of the more challenging components of process evolution, or let's call it for what it is, change.
Yeah.
yeah.
Honestly, the number one thing to do is create a safe environment, and that might come through vulnerability. So I myself will be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Letting people know that you've got a space where ideas can be shared freely and openly, without shame, without judgment. And it takes time. You really need to invest in fostering those relationships, connecting with people, rather than, going into a department and saying, hey, we have a problem here. Start asking questions. What are your day-to-day challenges? Can you show me what that means? Can I sit with you and experience those challenges with you? If people know and see that you're actually interested in what they have to say, they're going to be more open to talking to you.
Yeah.
That's quite the tightrope that you have to walk between making people really comfortable, but then also pushing them out of their comfort zone.
Absolutely.
That's right.
But I will say on that note, I mean, you're certainly not wrong, but people genuinely, I think when they go into work or in their homes, their day-to-day lives, I don't think most of us sit around whatever it is we're doing and think, I wish my job was harder. I think we're all wanting things to be more convenient, more efficient, easier. And so it's having someone that you can feel comfortable and safe with to talk about those things.
Yeah.
And I really like the way that you say that is I would call it the angle that you approach people. Because if you come and say, on your high horses and say, we need to change this process because, rather you ask question, right? And you make them participate and open up on how can we help you to do better? So
Yeah.
you're more coming with it. Am I right? Like
Absolutely.
on that, in that sense. So this way they open up instead of seeing you as a threat, they see you as somebody that genuinely wants to help them to get, to that point easier, like faster,
Yep.
better. So that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And
yeah.
it's baby steps, right? You
Yes.
don't go in and you make the monumental change right away.
Yeah.
You make small little things, little tweaks and processes, things that they're saying, hey, I for years and years, I've had this problem and no
Yeah.
one's listened or no one's heard or no one's seen it. I don't know how to share this idea.
Yeah.
Start with the little things.
And then you build that trust, right? Because people are
Absolutely.
seeing that change, even if it's something small. And exactly like you said, it might be somebody who said, I've been saying this for so long. I just want this little change so I don't have to do it again and again and again. And now you've got a win, a quick win for them, right?
Yeah.
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 And I want to circle back because, again, when there's when the person you speak to also sees that there's room for improvement, but how do you deal with people that no, everything is good.
Yeah.
I'm good, but you know that there's definitely a problem with the process.
It's tough.
Yes.
And it takes an investment in time. And I think where you get your wins there is by showing in other areas that, you know what, well, we didn't think there was a problem, but we just found this way of
Smart.
moving the printer 10 feet closer. Now
Yeah.
suddenly we're not getting up and down as much. We've reduced our travel time between point A and point B.
Yeah.
And that made a difference in my day.
Yeah.
That's a small thing, but it actually added up.
Yeah.
And so people see that you're willing to help in all areas, and they'll start to open up to you a little bit more,
Yeah.
and they'll start to think differently about the actions they're taking. Because I do think people, when you ask them that, what are your challenges? They think big.
Right.
They
So true.
think about the system needs to change. They think about all these massive
Yeah.
tasks, and that's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Break it down into smaller pieces.
Yes.
Well, in this way, you can come in with fresh eyes and see some of those things that, I think all of us within our day to day, there's certain things we just do them. And you don't really stop to see it. And you can't see it from a fresh eyes because it's just what you're used to doing. It's just what is done. And it's really hard to step back. So coming in as an outsider, although not without its own challenges, also really kind of gives you an advantage to that because you can see it with those fresh eyes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, very good.
What would you say is the most surprising to you in terms of like from the beginning of your career, in terms of the evolution of processes? Any big change that you've seen?
Surprising, no. I don't think I'm shocked by anything I'm seeing. But I'll say obviously technology's evolved
Yes.
a lot.
Yeah.
Even since COVID. I mean, look at AI technology now
Yeah.
and the impact that's having on multiple industries, from distribution to school systems.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. OCR technology, which is scanning technologies, all of those advancements are pretty cool, and I love being a part of an organization and a company that embraces those things. But again, I don't know if I'd say that's surprising, but it's definitely evolving quickly.
Right.
Yeah.
Outside of that, though, what I will say in my career over the years, what I see more and more are people embracing change more, and
Okay, that's
maybe
interesting.
that's like hand in hand with technology evolving. so
Yeah.
people have to be, but I think change is scary, and it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In all facets of our lives, but I'm seeing more and more that people are open to discussion, and that to me is really cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we think about before COVID and remember the QR code, right? 10,
Yeah.
15 years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember we had them on our business
Yeah, we had
card,
them on business cards.
and it
Very
never-
cutting edge at the time. And then,
Yes.
it just didn't pick up.
just died.
Yeah.
And then suddenly the only way to look at the menu was to scan a QR
Yeah.
code. And everybody, like at even different age group, had to adapt.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
was no way out of this. So even if the transition to it's a must, you don't have a choice. So there's evolution that happened because there's no other solution, or or you embrace it, and that's what definitely we invest a lot in at Purity, to be always on the cutting edge
Yeah.
on that side. So, but if we because the audience is also our retailers and our vendors, and but if we think about, in store, why should retailers think about innovation? Because some people look at Purity and say, oh, you're a distributor, yeah, of course you need all those tools and this and that. We're a small health food store, I don't need to innovate that much. Why is this statement wrong? It's a heavy word, but I would say it's need to reconsider, maybe would be more appropriate. Yeah.
Sure. I think there's a couple ways to answer that question.
Yeah.
I think maybe to touch on the more obvious, or maybe obvious is the wrong word, but there's efficiencies to gain. There's a lot that you can do that's honestly going to impact your bottom line, right? So change can really help your business.
Yes.
Right.
So to me, that seems like that low-hanging fruit. That's the obvious answer. Yeah. But I think even broader than that is, again, when we go back to people, when you can create an environment where you're open to change and evolution, whether that's based off of your employee feedback, your consumer feedback, when you can foster ideas in an environment, you suddenly change the whole atmosphere.
Yeah.
And that's true for your customers coming in. They're going to feel that.
Right.
If you can implement ideas based off customer feedback, which we proudly do, our customer link, platform is always evolving based off of what our customers are telling us, right?
Yeah.
That's really cool. Your consumer experiences are going to reflect your employee experiences. And so
well said.
It really does make a difference. And so I'd say the why, obviously your bottom line, how you create efficiencies, how you stay relevant in a market.
Yeah.
QR codes is a great example, Julie. That's something that has really been embraced in a lot of ways for consumers to get information easy.
Yeah,
right?
and I would say that for retailers, you become obsolete if you can't keep up. Like the great example was during COVID, if you didn't have a online platform, if you didn't pivot
get one
that way.
fast.
Remember that word, pivoting? That was the big word out there. Like how many restaurants said, hey, we can't have people coming in. We're going to have a pickup or delivery. That's how they embrace that innovation. So I think that if you don't innovate and look at how you do process, then you become obsolete as well. Right?
The most successful companies have always been the ones that are able to change and change quickly.
Exactly.
Yes, absolutely. And would you have some suggestion on how can our retailers innovate?
Yeah, absolutely. There's all sorts of tools and resources that you can find on the internet that are going to give you some guidance about implementing change, but it starts with listening. And you can have a suggestion box. You can have comments that come from, again, consumers or staff members or your supervisor, however you want to structure that. That's one way of doing it. But also listen to what your staff are saying. Listen to what their challenges are. They might not be coming up to you and saying, hey, Julie, I have this very specific problem.
Yeah.
No, they're likely going to talk about a process they don't like doing. Or something that they might complain about it in the background. But you're not going to find it in a suggestion box. Listen to those things because you have opportunity there.
Yeah, and it's free. It's free, right? That's
Absolutely.
right there. And they're the ones that are using all your systems and doing the, whatever the process that you have in place. So you have to probe the question, has them. Yeah.
Exactly. And once you listen and you start to kind of hear some commonalities, maybe everybody in your staff is saying or your customers are saying the same thing.
Right.
Then you need to do something with that information.
Yes.
And so I like to take a problem, start with the problem, come up with your problem statement, and don't jump to a solution.
Right.
That's probably
that's the hardest.
Yeah.
That's the hardest, right?
Yeah. And I can maybe give an example of what that might look like. But when you jump to a solution, you don't know that you're solving the problem.
That's right.
So you start with your problem statement and then include the stakeholders and the people that are involved with the processes that are part of that problem. Because that inclusion is critical for breaking down the issue. You come up with your cause and effect, and you start to come up with probably something that was better than your initial solution.
Right.
Less costly too.
Yeah, because we've been through that quite often when we did some program like that, working on certain, and yeah, you have like ideas on solution right away, but we often forgot some department
Yeah.
that had their vision on things that we didn't even think about to include in that solution
Yeah.
at the end.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is the angle I see.
Yeah.
And then here's the solution to that angle,
Yeah.
but it's not, well, what about you, marketing?
Exactly.
And what about you, the warehouse? And what about you? And
Absolutely.
that makes you blind. And then that's, as you said, the solution is no longer the right solution.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. And I think in my role or similar roles,
Yeah.
you know, the task in front of me isn't to find the solution or present the solution, but it's to get people talking, to facilitate a conversation where ideas start to flow and people come up collectively with something better than ever I could have ever put forth.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to see that process happen. So start with your problem statement, break it down into what might feed that problem, and then you can start to get, again, that cause and effect, and you might find something really simple that needs to change.
Right. So as an owner or a manager of stores, it's really about changing the mindset from, okay, I'm going to come in here, I'm going to solve this problem, to, okay, we have a problem, I need to slow myself down and then bring a bunch of parties to the table, basically. Like is that kind of how you see it? Just bring people and start having those conversations?
Yeah, exactly. And you may start with a slightly larger pool of people than you ultimately need.
Yeah.
But when you think about a stakeholder in a process or in a project, we oftentimes think it's people who are just immediately impacted by this thing. But you also have to think about people who might perceive to be impacted by this thing. And that's hard. That's a hard thing to kind of think through.
Yeah.
But when you do get those sort of fringe, departments or staff coming in to it, suddenly they're grateful.
Yeah.
You can engage.
Because
part
you
of-
didn't suddenly impose upon them
No.
this change. They were a
That's
part
right.
of the solution.
Yeah, so they're really, they're engaging and they're supporting the change instead of being resentful
Yeah,
of
you're getting
they've
that,
been
that
imposed.
buy-in.
Yeah, and I was thinking because for entrepreneur, we had another episode where we had some store owners or brands, and when you have that entrepreneurship very strong in you, it's hard to not say, here's a problem,
Yeah.
here's the solution, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of your baby, and you know. I'm doing some
and
quotes
often
here.
they've come up from a smaller company or as an individual, and
Yes.
it's always been up to them. So that's very
Yes.
hard to break free from.
But then, exactly. To bring on more voices is a difficult step, but it's absolutely, from what we've seen, it shows tremendous results because it's not only that you get the sense of everybody, but you definitely get them to embrace and buy into the whatever solution that will come. So
That's right.
it's,
That's right. And we do this in our everyday lives, so why
Yeah.
not bring it into our work environments too?
well, I hope we
You
do
know.
it in everyday life. I
Yeah,
think that,
mean,
yes.
Like
It is.
my wife
Yeah.
actually was just saying the other day,
Yeah.
like she's I keep hearing from her the dishes don't come out clean. I'm like, okay, the dishes aren't coming out clean. The dishes aren't coming out clean.
I can see you.
And I'm like, the solution is to get a new dishwasher, right? Let's go
Yes.
out, let's replace our dishwasher. That's
Yeah.
going to fix the problem. And we get the shiniest, like
Yes.
the Nimbus 2000 of dishwashers, and this thing's super efficient and fast. And I solved my problem,
Yeah.
but I spent a whole lot of money doing it.
Yeah.
Whereas if I instead started to ask questions, maybe we got a new type of dishwasher detergent. We forgot to top up the water softener. We aren't stacking the dishwasher the way we should.
You didn't talk to all your stakeholders
There-
first.
I was
I
too.
didn't talk to anybody. I just made
Didn't
a
bring the
decision.
kids in and say, rinse your plate, kids.
That's right.
Rinse your plate.
It's the kids.
That's right. And so we spent a lot of money to solve our problem, but there could have been something far
Yeah.
simpler and quicker had I just had a discussion.
That's right. Very good example. Very good example.
All right. We've got some rapid fire questions for
dear.
you.
Okay.
You ready
Get
for this?
ready.
Here
Yeah.
we go.
All
Here we
right.
go.
All right.
Okay. You've been doing this for a while. Do you have a favorite tool for innovation?
Can we say the first letter? I think I know. I think I know. We see it when we drive on the
I feel
highway.
like
There's
we
big
need to give a
panel
little
of
bit
this.
of background to this. This
Yes.
is a bit of a loaded question because at Purity Life. So yes, Phil's been in this position for quite some time, and I think we both know his favorite tool. We'll see what he says,
Yes.
but there is one specific platform that comes up a lot. Project management system, and that we've actually adopted in many different projects and in many different departments. And often Phil will very gently say in a meeting, well, there is this platform that can do this in a way. We should think about using it. So maybe you want to tell us a little bit about what your favorite tool might be.
And maybe that would be
Are you referring to Monday?
Maybe Monday.com.
Monday.com. We had that in mind. But
Monday.com has been a fantastic tool that we've been using. Actually, I'll be honest, Aaron's the one who introduced it to me, so
Yeah.
You can blame Aaron.
Yeah, we've been using it in marketing for a long time. But yeah, you've established some clear
Exponentially,
adoption of the program.
yes.
I have
Much
embraced
more
Across the
widespread.
board.
Yeah, it's fantastic. There's lots of similar programs out there. You'll find a program that works for you and your company.
Yeah.
It's great because it's you can work synchronously within Monday.
Mm-hmm.
It's transparent, which is so important. It allows visibility, and it's user friendly. It's wonderful. It's
Yeah,
lovely. I love it.
I will say that's something that Phil is excellent at, is that whole transparency piece and involving everybody. And I know I've learned a lot from Phil and done a lot better even for myself in terms of making sure to communicate openly and not holding things to myself. And also, again, making sure that all the stakeholders are involved and not just running at solving problems.
So important.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not a matter of I don't want to communicate because I want to keep all the information just to myself, but it's at the fast pace that we're going. And I'm totally guilty myself. Like there's so much going on that sometimes that you don't, you know, the information, you pass it on to one person that is the key person, but there's a lot of other parties involved. And with that platform, it's great because you can see the follow-up.
Yeah.
If something is falling behind, you can see from which area, not to blame people, but to really understand, okay, we're not getting the answer here. We need to move in that spot. Do you need help to move along?
Yes.
But was it your favorite platform? Did you want to say
we kind of put that
else?
into your mouth. What do you
Aaron and I were
actually
talking,
want to
I say,
say?
let's bet. I'm sure it's going to be Monday.com.
You're right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, one other one here. What area of innovation would you say should be prioritized?
Anything that impacts people.
Okay.
Absolutely. The people in your organization are your biggest resource.
Yeah.
Anything that impacts their happiness
Yes.
at work, how easily they can do their job, their functions, that's going to get you the biggest return on investment, because not only are you potentially improving upon their efficiency, but like we've said this whole time, you're building trust, you're getting more long-term out of that. Anything that includes...
So even in other
people.
projects, those people may be more effective or maybe more bought in or inspired to do more.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
Very good.
So you talked a little bit about working in kitchens. I know that you're also a writer. You have a lot of different facets to your personality and a lot of different things that you do, and you do very well, which leads me to ask you, what's your best tip for staying focused?
We're all listening very well Phil, right now.
It can be a challenge. Honestly, one of the things I started to do, maybe I'm going to get in trouble for this.
No.
I will honestly block chunks of time in my calendar. And I block the times that are my most effective, when I am at my mental height, because I'm going to get the most out of myself in that time. And for me to give that away or let somebody else take it from me, it's going to put me behind and I'm going to lose focus.
Right.
So I block specific chunks that work for me. And it just allows me to dedicate that time.
Yes.
Do you assign that time then?
I assign that time. Yeah.
So you know
Meeting with
ahead of
yourself.
time exactly. Okay, this is my block of time. These are the projects or pieces or tasks that I need to fill within this time.
Absolutely.
Oh, interesting.
It's a bit Elon Musk-ish. Do you know that? Because
maybe.
Yeah, he has a sheet actually that I've read that somewhere. I have no recollection where, but I've seen that. That he has like a form that he has all those priorities and time, and then he's not like moving out, like he doesn't let anything else coming
Right.
into it. So if you think about all, we're talking another episode too about all the social media
Yeah.
that it's
Pulls you
bombarding
in all
us.
different ways all the time, yes.
And everybody has their own urgency, right? Oh, I need this from you, I need this from you. That takes you away. So I think it's a very smart way to block that time where you know you're optimally in your mental focus to help you out that way.
Absolutely. And it doesn't mean I'm not available most of the time. It's just small chunks throughout certain points in my day
Yes.
that are for me.
Yeah.
I will also say if we are working in a group, we do a lot of brainstorming and group sessions around processes and projects. And to sit in a room for 8 straight hours to work through something is not effective.
Right.
So I would recommend never go longer than an hour without taking a break. I would say 10 minutes every hour is important. That break
That's hard.
doesn't mean you need to go off site.
Yeah.
You can honestly stand up.
Yeah.
Stand up, stretch your legs, move around,
Yeah.
take a walk around the building, and then come back.
Yeah.
You will start to tune out. You'll lose your audience.
Yes.
Right.
And it's so true. I think I don't know if you remember we had a speaker last year when we were on Zoom still that was explaining that in his book. Actually, he stated, and he worked with Olympians, and he said that
the Train Like an Olympian book.
Yes, Train Like an Olympian. That every hour. Take 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Either you get out, you walk, but you just change the state. Could be 10-minute meditation, but something that is breaking from what you're doing, and you come back and you're fresh again.
Yep. And be rigid with it.
Yes.
And set a timer. Don't leave it up for interpretation. Has it been 50
Right.
minutes or 45 minutes?
Yes.
Set a timer. And then when that timer goes off, if you're in the middle of a sentence, wrap up your sentence.
Yes.
But don't start a new subject.
Right.
Yes.
Take a break, come back.
And don't let anybody just, I just need 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 minutes after this 10 minutes.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is mine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
very good.
Yeah.
Maybe an easy question, but what do you love the most about your role at Purity Life, other than working with Aaron and I?
That's hard to top. The people,
Good answer.
for sure. Absolutely. I mean, the
Yeah.
people at Purity are family and so open and welcome, and I like going to work every day. It's
So
wonderful.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. You definitely bring joy, I would say, to Purity. You've, with this new position, because you were purchasing director previously, and in this new position, which is in light really with, Purity wants always be better constantly and evolving. So we definitely needed somebody with your personality in that position. So we are very grateful as well, definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think there was definitely. I feel like cheers rang out when there was when Phil got that position, because everybody knew that you're just so in tune to that and so just naturally talented for that position. I think Purity Life's definitely lucky to have you in that position. And
Absolutely.
Is it possible to blush on a podcast?
you're showing us that yes, it is possible.
Yes, for the listener, Phil has introduced a little reddish glow to
A little bit
his
of a
skin.
hue going on there. No, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing so much of what you've learned,
Thank
and
you.
especially I think sharing kind of some tips and tricks for retailers how they can kind of activate some stuff in their store and how to start that. I think that'll be really helpful for a lot of our listeners as well.
Yeah. Any last word for retailers or something you want to bring back for people not to forget about?
Communicate.
Yes.
Communicate. Listen. That's what it's all about.
Excellent words.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
for
so
your
much.
time. So for our section on New to Purity Life, we have the pleasure to introduce today our new inside sales rep, Allison Torres, and she's been with us since July.
Hey, Allison, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you guys?
Excellent.
Great. We're so excited to have you. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your what you've kind of done before you came to us at Purity Life?
For sure. I started off in a health food store. I was working part-time while I was at school, worked my way up to be a manager, and then I got the opportunity to work for a really small nutraceutical company as their Southwestern Ontario rep. And then from there, I experienced being an outside sales rep in the GTA for a manufacturer and distributor. And then from there, I worked for a broker in the GTA, and now I'm at Purity.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And what surprised you the most at Purity Life? Since now you have a couple of months under your belt with us.
Yeah, I would say the accessibility and technology. I like that I don't have to ask someone for something and then wait for a reply. Everything is there. All the teams operate really smoothly. And I have to give a shout out to my manager. It's really nice to have somebody who supports. She sort of lines up the dominoes and says, knock them dead. So having those tools is a huge relief and was very surprising.
So you experienced the easy to do business with.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we do really like our systems, and Carly's fantastic.
Yeah, she is amazing.
She knows what she's doing. Absolutely.
What is your favorite natural health product?
It's really hard to narrow it down to just one. Currently, I'm addicted to the Chef Wu 20-gram ramen.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's, with the cost of groceries, it's like a very inexpensive 20 grams of protein. You're ready to go, and you can top it up with extra protein, which I like. But my everyday essentials is the Subi Greens. Curator deodorant by Routine. But I'm super excited about the Mush Up coffee and the new Marlowe brand as well. Those already are getting a ton of attention. So very excited.
Fantastic. But what was your first, and I don't know if you remember, or as far as you can remember, what was your first natural product that you either tried or fell in love with?
Yeah, I think it was Renew Life's Intestinu. I was 17 years old. And I was told, and Lily of the Desert Inner Filet Aloe. I was told at 17 that I was going to need a colostomy bag, that my gastrointestinal tract was ruined, and I did not like that diagnosis. So I walked into a health food store, and they were like, yep, just do a shot of aloe, drink it every day, and here's your Intestinu, you'll be fine. And within a month, I was, which sounds ridiculous, but truly it made a huge difference.
So the Intestinu is like a glutamine, and I think there's some marshmallow in there too for...
There's, marshmallow in there. It's more so like, it's not a laxative by any means. It's replenishing the intestinal tract.
Soothing. At the same time.
So was that the product that brought you or interested you, or the reason why you came into the natural field? Because we all have that little time in our life that either we had a challenge in our health or somebody in our family, and that's sort of what brought us into this field. So was that what happened to you?
In a sense, yeah. I grew up in a farming family, so remedies was always the thing, whether it was like Vicks on the bottom of your feet because you're sick was sort of the go-to, or you couldn't sleep, so there might have been a hot toddy situation from grandma. But that specific situation, that health food store, when I went back in, I gave a testimonial, and they were like, do you want a job? And that's how I got the job.
Oh, there you go.
It's the exact segue into it.
Awesome.
If you could work for a different department in Purity Life, what would it be and why?
Probably brand onboarding. I love being at the forefront of innovation, but also with Phil in continuous development. I like problem solving. I think that would be fascinating.
And there's always something to work on constantly.
Always.
Improvement.
Always growing, always improving. Yep, that's for sure.
There's nothing worse than being like, okay, and what do I do now? I love the idea that there's another one and another one. Yeah.
You're in the right company.
Yes, constant. What do you like about being an inside sale?
Ooh, okay. From a fulfillment standpoint, I would say I like alleviating other people's problems. So for some of my buyers where they're short staffed and they're like, I really can't get to this. I go, don't worry about it. I'll put together the whole order for you. Why don't you order this? This makes sense here. Let's take advantage of this discount. And they go, oh yeah, okay, do that. That's perfect. Thank you. From an egotistical standpoint, I love at the end of the day, seeing the number just be like, boop, it went up. So that instant gratification is nice in sales.
A go-getter. That's awesome. We love that.
Well, we're so happy to have had you join our team, and thanks so much for coming out and filling up our New to Purity Life segment.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. It was great.
Thanks so much for joining us for this episode. We were so excited to have you here. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can catch all of the rest of our next episodes. You can follow us on Instagram at Purity Life Health Products LP. You can follow Julie at
JD_Girl Power.
or myself at Erin G. Macklin. Send us your feedback. Please send us your feedback. marketing@puritylife.com. And next week, join us as we showcase Julie and Erin's Trend Talk from the Siege Faye 2023. We'll be showcasing that.